everyone, and welcome to our 6th and final installment of the Take 5 with StratusLIVE series. Today, we're talking about how to make informed, data-driven decisions with campaign ROI dashboards. In particular, we're digging into the StratusLIVE 365 campaign ROI module. As far as our agenda goes today, first, I'll give a brief introduction of our speakers. Then we'll dig into our challenge, how to make informed data-driven decisions and how StratusLIVE approaches this challenge. We'll end with a brief demo of StratusLIVE 365 campaign ROI. And if time permits, we'll do a quick Q&A at the end. First up, our speakers for today, you can see their smiling faces on the screen. We have Brett Meyer. Brett is Director of Product Management and Services at StratusLIVE. And Debbie Schneider is Group Vice President of Sales and Marketing. And that's me, I'm a Digital Marketing Manager. First up, our challenge, how to make informed data-driven decisions using campaign ROI. The first question that we get asked a lot is, how can I focus my fundraising efforts with campaign ROI dashboards? Debbie?
Thank you, Lori. Well, a campaign ROI dashboard gives you real-time information to help you manage your fundraising activity. You can easily see all pledged or planned giving for forecasting, as well as evaluating the success of your marketing campaigns. You can use the data analysis to enable a personalized donor interaction and make them feel more recognized and more connected to your mission. Campaign ROI dashboards give you the actionable intel that you need to maximize your fundraising efforts.
Thank you, Debbie. Some other questions we get asked a lot are, how do I easily get actionable data to drive strategic decisions? And how can I pinpoint what activities are driving revenue? Debbie?
Thanks, Lori. Well, I love campaign ROI dashboards because with these dashboards, you can connect real-time data and constituent interactions to get an end-to-end view of what activities are driving your data. In other words, you don't have to look at your campaigns in a silo. You can get a more comprehensive view of how your activities are driving your data. Campaign dashboards can help you refine financial forecasts by modeling and analyzing data across multiple dimensions. And finally, campaign ROI dashboards can chart organizational performance in real time with analytics based on historical and predictive data presented through built-in Power BI dashboards. And in the demo, Brett is going to show you how the campaign ROI dashboards really bring your data to life.
Thank you, Debbie. Okay, with that, we'll go ahead and pass things over to Brett, who's going to provide a brief look at StratusLIVE 365 campaign ROI.
Thanks, Debbie and Lori. So I want to touch on a couple of different areas of the system. We're certainly going to talk about dashboards and how they work with it, but there is another piece of StratusLIVE that I want to make sure everybody is kind of familiar with, that is directly related to tracking of campaign ROI. So I'm going to go into the system, and I'm going to go up here to my recent items just because I have a lot of things saved up here. I'm actually going to use my 2020 annual campaign because that one was completed last year. So if I want to look at how that campaign did, I can just click on there. This will open up my campaign form, and I'm just on my regular information form. And if I go down to my financial area, at a quick glance, I can get an idea of what happened with this campaign. So at the top, I can see my financial information as far as what my costs were. And this does a roll up. So my initial cost here of my campaign activities were the appeals that we ran last year. We did about 106,000. I had another 35 in other costs for a total of about 141,000 in costs. My goal was $3 million. So that's what we were shooting for just for this campaign. And then down below that, before I get into these upper fields, let's look at the bottom fields. I was shooting for an average donation or payment amount, in essence, of $275. And I was looking for a response goal of 8,000. So I'm looking for 8,000 transactions is what we were looking for. Now, this was more of a gift-based campaign. So I did get a couple of pledges, though. So we did get 14 pledges for about $95,000. So my average was very high on those, just because there were just a few pledges that came in. They may have been corporate pledges or something along those lines, but they were a little bit higher amounts. And I could drill in and find out what that was, using just the connections that we already have in the system. But since this was more of a gift-based one, I can really look over here at our payment information. So my average was 254. I missed the mark a little bit from the total donation, so I was a little bit low on that. My ROI is pretty good because we did bring in, $2.5 million with this. I was over on my counts by the number of transactions, but I did miss my goal by a little bit also. So this just gives me some really quick visibility into the ROI. Now, the nice part about the system is I could also drill down levels into the appeals and into the packages that were related to this campaign and see the same type of ROI, but really broken out by those areas. Now, for the main part of our demonstration today, I really wanted to concentrate on some of the Power BI functionality and what we can bring to the table, because we actually can, do some more real-time analysis and looking at how things have changed. Because while this shows me how we did last year for this one campaign, it doesn't give me really good analysis into the whole picture. So what happened in 2020, or what's happening in 2021 for that matter, and how does that compare over time? So we're going to go now to our Power BI campaign dashboard. This will take just a second to load up. This is, looking at a lot of data through the system. I'm looking at transactions that started in 2017 through the beginning of this year. So I'm not including a lot of transactions after the first of this year, because I just wanted to kind of do my 2020 analysis. We do already have transactions in from 21 or 421 that happened last year, just because of the cycle of giving and how things were dated through on there. But what this allows me to do is we'll start up here in this kind of upper quadrant, and we'll kind of go through all of them, and then we'll circle back around on a couple things in a second. So this really allows me to see the different types of what we would call campaigns that we run. So I do an advertising campaign, I have a direct marketing, I have my event campaigns, my workplace giving, both local and out of area. So this is allowing me to see over time how things have shifted, how they change. So I can look and say, I did a lot in direct or advertising last year, or I'm sorry, 2 years ago, and last year I only did 8,000. So we had a big change in the way we did our advertising. Now I can see my direct marketing. We spent a lot more direct market focus last year because we were bringing in money for that. It seemed to be, if I go back in time, we brought in a lot of money in 2017 through some of that direct marketing. So we wanted to get back into that. So I can see how that's changed. Now, also underneath that, I can see what types of things I'm getting in here. Are they gifts? Are they pledge fulfillments? Is it just pledges that I have out there? Have we received payments that we're not sure where they go to yet? Do we have order fulfillment that we're doing? And we don't do a lot of order fulfillment, but it is an option out there. So this really allows me to kind of drill in and see each of those different types of things. The other thing that I have over here is the ability to see how things have changed over time, grown, shrunk, all of those types of things. So we had 2017 was an anomaly year because we had $100 million donation come in. So we don't get those all the time. So it kind of throws our numbers off a little bit when we're doing that. But I can see that we've had a consistent growth in the number of transactions. And I can see I had a little small growth in the amount of transactions that are coming through on there. So things are getting a little bit better. And hopefully when we finish out 2021, that will increase even more over top of what we did in 2020. I can see my detail information, so I don't have to just rely on this visualization over here. I can actually see things like the number of gifts and the average of my gifts and all of those things tracked through in the application. I'm going to scroll down a little bit more. I do things like this, where we can have a top performing campaign. Again, this was my anomaly one that we had, that $100 million donation through our radio campaign that we ran. And I can see my least performing one was actually a Hurricane Harvey relief. We didn't get a lot of money in for that, only $26 over that whole campaign that we ran. Now, we want to include some additional information around leadership, which includes sometimes affinity, and affinity can include membership. I can also do it with recognition. Again, recognition can be what we would historically think of as giving levels and things like that, but it also may be related to some membership and things like that. So I can click on here and I can see each of my recognition levels, and I get a full graph of how does that change over time. So I can really look at, where things are down, where they're up. So, in my 20 to 21, I can see I lost a lot on my diamond circle right now, but I've gained a lot on my gold giving circle. Now, depending on the levels, one of those might be a little bit better than the other one. So that might be a good change for us. It might be a bad change. So if people are reducing their gift versus giving more, that's things that I want to look at. So again, we have some actionable analysis that we want to be able to do on this. And then I also just do, a little bit of a graph here on the recognitions. How much do we get in recognitions versus what we're tracking through on affinity levels? Now, this is all great, and I talked about a little bit, actionable, what can we do on that kind of stuff. So one of the things that we wanted to be able to do with this is additional actionable capabilities. So we're coming into October of 21, or we're middle of October 21. We want to be able to go and do some things like churn analysis. So it's getting to the end of the year. I'm down a little bit on my giving. So if I look at my totals overall, I can see I'm about $1 million short right now. Between 21 and 20, or 20 and 21. So if I want to look at who gave in 20 and didn't give in 21, there's ways that I could run queries and do things like that in the system, but I can just come up here to my 21, right click on it. I have a little drill through to churn. So this right away gives me a new report. This will show me what's called LIBUNT. That's last year, but unfortunately not this year. So that means they gave in 2020, have not given yet in 2021. I have 7,000 or over 7,000 donors, and I can even see what their total giving amounts were in the past. So I want to pay attention to that one. I'll come back to this one in a second. I also do have SIBUNT also. SIBUNT stands for some year, but unfortunately not this year. So it's good analysis, but it may be a little iffy. Is that from deceased people? Is it not deceased people? How far back are we going on this? Because this is looking at all time. So I may not want to run and list out and contact all of those people, but I think it's good to know that we have a fair amount of churn within the organization. Now, some good news for this year, we actually have 16,000 people that are brand new donors. It means they have never given before. So that's really good. I can see who they are. I can see their giving amounts, what they gave this year, and all of those things. Now, to make this even more actionable, this is great, but I don't want to have to go and look up all of these people and get their addresses and email and phone numbers and all of that. So I'm just going to click View Extract. This gives me that exact same list. Now I have email addresses, phone numbers, address information, their giving amounts. And if I scroll down here a little bit further to the bottom, we also can tell when they last gave or what campaigns they've given into, what their last gift date was with us, what their last gift amount was with us, all of those kinds of things. So when I look at my overall shortfall, those people that gave last year but haven't given this year yet is $1.6 million. So if I can get a lot of that, that's going to put us over top of last year. So this looks like a great list for me. I'm going to go one more click, export the data. It'll ask me, what do I want to export? I can either do the summarized data like I'm showing, or I can do the underlying data. It's going to go out as Excel. I click export and we allow it to run the file out. So my data was successfully exported. My live on data, we'll give it a second here. It's actually opening on my other screen. So there is our live on data exactly as we saw it on there. Now I could take this, do a mail merge from here, do whatever I wanted right from Excel. So I'm going to turn it back over to Debbie and Lori. I just wanted to kind of show you what we were able to do with that actionable data from the system.
Thank you, Brett, and thank you to Debbie as well. If you have any further questions, please email us at info@stratuslive.com or visit our website at stratuslive.com. Thanks so much.